Yeah. Recording. We all good? Who's ready? Yeah. With Commissioners Tamamoto, Takeuchi, and myself present, the meeting of the Salary Commission is called to order. Commissioners Yuen, Espinda, Wakabayashi, and Peters-Wynn are appearing via the WebEx system that is set up in the chamber. This system allows these members to participate through video and audio capacity. Will remote commissioners please state your name for the record and to verify your presence?
Everyone or just the...
Commissioner Peters-Wynn, why don't you start first?
Okay, this is Diane Peters-Wynn.
Commissioner Espinda?
Aloha, this is Claire Ewan.
Hi, it's Malia Espinda.
Chair, fellow commissioners, it's Dee Wakabayashi.
Thank you. Testimonies. Only written testimony is being accepted. No oral testimony will be allowed due to COVID-19 safety measures. Written testimony, including the testifier's name, address, email address, and phone number, may be posted by the city clerk and available to the public on the city's DocuShare website. If you have not already submitted your testimony, please do so now by raising your hand and presenting it to the commission, to my commission staff. Okay. Cell phone and electronic devices. As a courtesy, please turn off your cell phones and other electronic devices or put them on silent mode during the meeting. Also, for those on the WebEx, please put yourself on mute unless you're going to be speaking forward. Thank you. Digital minutes. As a reminder, minutes of this meeting are being created using an audio recording. To achieve accurate minutes, it is important that commissioners properly identify themselves upon speaking and when making a motion. Thank you. Approval of minutes of April 3rd, 2020 meeting and executive session meeting held on February 28th, 2020. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the April 3rd, 2020 Commission meeting and the February 28th, 2020 executive session minutes?
Chair Sakamoto, this is Commissioner Diane Peters-Wynn. I just have a procedural question. Are we approving the summary, the written summary for the audio recording, or are we approving the audio minutes themselves? Just because there was a very small typo in the written summary, so I don't know whether that matters.
Yeah, we're approving the audio minutes.
Oh, okay. Then in that, I make a motion to approve the audio minutes for the meeting of April 3rd, 2020.
Commissioner Takeuchi, seconds.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded. Are there any objections? Noting no objections from the 5 commissioners present, the minutes have been approved. Next, I'm going to skip item number 3 and move to item 4, which is the public testimony. Because public testimony has been restricted to a written format, I will be reading the name and a short comment from the testifier. This will allow comments to become part of the digital minutes. All written testimony will be available on the Salary Commission website and the City Legacy DocuShare website. Please pardon my mispronunciation for some of the names. First, we have Mayor Caldwell. I'm advising the Salary Commission that I, as mayor, and my cabinet members will be refusing any salary adjustments. Honolulu City Council. In light of the present situation, the Honolulu City Council will very likely reject all pay increase recommendations of any amount for city and county elected officials and department heads. Councilmember Tsuneyoshi. Salary increases should be deferred. Councilmember Pine. Now is not the time for top public officials to get pay raises. Susan Piccola Davis opposes raises. Therese Howe recommends no pay raises for the next year. Tanya Grace urges to forego raises for 2020. Singh and Haimoto McShane strongly opposed to the raises. Common Cause Hawaii would want reasonable measures to allow public participation. Charlene Chun Lum opposes the recommendation for raises. Ronnie Lipke urges the cancellation of the proposed 2020 pay raises. Paul Kay should not be getting raises now. Susan Maltier Hutton, 0% salary increase for those positions listed for salary increases. Denise Webb, unwise to cut teachers' salaries at this time. Okay. Joe Watt, inappropriate for Honolulu City Council members to take a 3% pay increase. Kona Nea Ka Mahina Awo de la Nux urges to forego for 2020 pay raise. Karen Murray, city officials do not warrant a pay raise. Vern Shibata, disagree with the Salary Commission stance on increasing wages. Natalie Iwasa opposes all pay increases. Amber Wong opposes pay cut for teachers. Lynn Matusao opposes any increase in pay. Jane Fee, very irresponsible and unethical for any public salaries to be raised. And finally, Margaret Kahoi Lua, salaries and salary schedules for fiscal year 2020 should be revisited. These are the testimonies received by 12 noon today. Testimonies received after this time will be included in the final compilation of comments. Commissioners, are there any questions at this time? Thank
Claire,
Chen James.
you're on. Contribute.
Chair Sakamoto,
Go ahead.
this is Commissioner Diane Peters-Wynn. I just had a question. There was one person that submitted testimony from the island of Maui, therefore not a resident of the city and county of Honolulu. And in some of the other cases, it was not possible to determine whether they are indeed residents of the city and county of Honolulu. But my assumption is that in that case, we should just disregard that testimony. Is that correct?
We'll keep the testimony for the public record since it was submitted. I understand your position, though.
Okay, thank you.
How should we handle the request? Ma'am, we can go back and check. If not, we can capture it again for the record. Thank you for letting us know. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, maybe Brian Tamamoto, Commissioner, maybe just for the record, that the email that was not received, can you just indicate that it was in favor or against?
Thank you folks for your good voluntary work, and I know that the circumstances were different before, and of course COVID-19 is happening so fast, and then I trust that you guys will do the right thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, I think you need to repeat so that we can hear the public person.
Yeah. Shun James is thanking the commissioners for their good work and understands that the recommendations put forth were done prior to the situation they're currently in, and trusts that the commission will do the right thing in making recommendations going forward. Thank you.
Chair Sakamoto, this is Commissioner Diane Peters-Wynn again. I did not hear that the testimony from Common Cause Hawaii was received, and yet that was part of our packet.
Yeah, did I skip
I
that
just
one?
wanted to make sure that's part of the record because the recommendations and the position in that letter was that we should, they were basically opposed to the fact that there's no live stream of this hearing and there was no allowing for oral testimony and asked us to suspend the meeting. So I do want to make sure that their testimony is of the record.
Yeah, thanks for that comment, Commissioner Peters-Wynn. The ninth testimony that I read was from Common Cause Hawaii, and I'll repeat. We just summarized it. One would want reasonable measures to allow public participation. So I know you expanded on that, but in absence of having me read every single one verbatim, we tried to summarize to the best of our ability. But thank you for that note.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So at this time, this concludes the public testimony.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion.
Name.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Brian Tamamoto. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, in our last meeting on April 3rd, 2020, I spoke about the no raise proposal and that I would like to see it as part of today's meeting. And as such, I've heard the testimonies that were submitted in by the public. I've heard from our elected officials, but also using just common sense. And at this point, I wanted to put my recommendation into a formal proposal that my motion is to have a no increase for elected and appointed officials for the city and county of Honolulu.
Commissioner Takeuchi seconds the motion.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
This is Commissioner Malia Spinda. Commissioner Tomohiro, I appreciate the recommendation and will be supporting that recommendation with one little sensitive caveat that it also will include the HPD chief. And I think she had a really tough year, much toughness ahead. And I wish there was a way we could recognize that, but I appreciate what the situation the entire state is in, including the city and county of Honolulu. Thank you.
Okay.
Chairman Sakamoto, Brian Tamamoto. Just a point of information, I believe our meetings are governed by Robert Rules of Order, and as such, unless otherwise indicated or action taken on it, the only way that this can be handled is that Commissioner Malia will have to amend the main motion before any further action, and it requires a second and requires a vote.
I'm going to check with Corporation Counsel on a procedural if we need to have a vote based on the initial recommendation.
If I may, Commissioner Spinda, I'm not recommending. I'm saying I support your no raise 0. I'm just caveating it with the acknowledgement that that will include 0 for HPD Chief Mallard and her deputy. And I'm sensitive to the year that she's had and the year HPD has ahead of her. Well,
Thank you, Commissioner Spinda. Okay, your comments have been noted. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, the commission will vote on the motion to have 0 increases for the city and county appointed and elected officials. All those in favor, commissioners, please raise your hand for a vote in favor. Okay. Can I see D? Commissioner Wakabayashi, could you speak verbally?
Point of information,
I'm in
Mr.
favor,
Chairman.
yes.
Maybe for clarity, that it should be by voice vote, by individual.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you. Okay, so let me restate. All those in favor of a 0% increase for city and county of Honolulu elected and appointed officials, I'm going to ask the commissioners one by one for each of their votes. Commissioner Tamamoto,
Yes.
Commissioner Takeuchi,
Yes.
Commissioner Yuen,
Yes, for the positions that I can vote on, I agree.
thank you. Commissioner Espinda, Commissioner Peters-Wynn,
Aye.
Commissioner Wakabayashi.
Yes.
And for myself, vote yes. Okay. Since the commission has voted for a recommendation of no salary adjustments for elected officials, including the mayor, council members, and prosecuting attorney, and the following appointed officials: managing director, deputy managing director, department head, deputy department head, and band director, as well as the deputies of corporation counsel and prosecuting attorney, medical director, and deputy medical director. I recommend that the remaining items on the agenda be canceled. Any objections? Adoption of resolution and accompanying findings of fact establish the salaries and salary schedules for fiscal year 2021. Said resolution shall be forwarded to the mayor and the city council pursuant to section 3-122.2 of the charter. Thank you, commissioners. Pursuant to the city's charter, any action by the commission altering salary shall be by resolution accompanied by the findings of fact. Since we have not altered the current salaries, no resolution is required. The transmittal to the mayor and council of a finding of fact is recommended to acknowledge this commission's actions. At this time, I would like to call for a short recess to prepare and pass out the draft findings of fact of the commission.
Chair?
Commissioners, on the WebEx, we will be having the findings of fact being emailed to you, so if you can stand by your email, review it quickly, and I'll be bringing that up shortly after we reconvene.
All right, Chair, could I, when you reconvene, please speak directly into the microphone, because from the side, you get garbled.
Thank you. Commissioners, did you receive the email from Randall Young?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you got the attachment.
Yes.
Okay, we'll give you a couple minutes to review.
Do we just, where do you guys go?
I hear you, Malia.
Okay. Chair, is this a time to discuss them? Because I have an immediate question.
No, not the time yet. When I call the meeting back to order, we can. Ready? call the meeting back to order. I trust that all commissioners had a chance to review the findings of fact by the 2020 Salary Commission. The draft findings of fact provided to the commissioners are substantially in the form to be submitted to the City Council and the Mayor. I'll stop this time for any discussion by the commissioners.
Hi, it's Commissioner Elias. I note in the draft that it has a statement about the findings from the pig that we never really had a chance to vet through. Does that need to be included? The section, especially actually starting from probably the comma of recommending a 3% salary all the way down to the period. Does that need to be included? I feel that we really discussed it in any meaningful way.
Okay. So you're breaking up a little, Commissioner Espinda. So what I'm gathering is you're asking if, for the record of the findings of fact, do we need to have stated the recommendation of the 3% increase made by the permitted interaction group? Is that correct?
As well as the exceptions, right? We didn't discuss the exceptions.
As well as the exceptions. Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Brian Tamamoto, if I may, I would like to address Commissioner Espinda's question. Can I proceed?
Yes, go ahead.
Commissioner Espinda, as I understand the process, while sitting here on the commission, further elaboration of the PIG's recommendation, deliberation, as well as rationale is a moot point at this juncture, and the reason for that is the motion for a no increase is already done. If the PIG's original recommendation was to move forward, then I think at that point it would be appropriate to provide rationale followed by deliberation, as we have done in previous commission hearings.
I just
Go ahead, Commissioner
unfortunate.
Espinda. Go ahead.
I understand our situation with 0%, no raise, but I think history will look back at particular finding a fact and not really have any understanding of if they don't have that we didn't have a discussion about that and that, but for COVID-19 we might have agreed to that.
Okay.
Okay. Am I to understand it has to stay again?
Hold on. Let me confer with Corporation Counsel. Are you making a motion to?
I don't know. I think we're under discussion at this point.
Yeah. In your discussion, are you asking that we eliminate that section of item number 2 on the findings of fact, starting from recommending?
From the, I think from comma recommending a 3% salary. Yeah, because I don't, unless somebody, I'm trying to understand that it doesn't have to.
Okay. Hold on for a second. Let me confer with the staff. Commissioner Espinda, let me clarify. Would a statement in the findings of fact to the extent of the recommendations made forth by the PIG were never discussed suffice, or are you asking that just be totally eliminated? I think that accomplishes the same thing.
I think that would be for me, that would be okay. It acknowledges that we never had a chance to the recommendation of the PIG.
Okay, thank you.
Chair Sakamoto, this is Commissioner Peters Wynn. I concur with Commissioner Espenda's recommendation that either language be included to indicate that the PIG's recommendations were not able to be discussed, were not discussed. And secondly, that in the end, we add language under paragraph number 6 to specifically mention the pandemic and the economic crisis has thrust upon our city and county of Honolulu, because the testimony that we received from the public as well as from elected officials virtually all stated that the timing for the increase is very bad. And so being that I would feel better if it were mentioned, it was included in the language under paragraph number 6. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
please.
Commissioner Tamamoto. Commissioner Wynn, I wanted to address your question regarding the proposed language to amend paragraph 6. I wanted to provide some information to you and to the rest of the commissioners that you may recall that when the PIG makes its recommendation, we are governed by what the city charter and the administrative rules provide for. And in one area of the charter, it clearly defines that as far as economic conditions by the city and county of Honolulu, it's not a factor for the PIG or the salary commission to consider. That is left up to the city and county of Honolulu. So all factors given, that's something outside the scope of the salary commission. So if we move forward with your proposed amendment to paragraph 6, we would be going outside the bounds of the city charter. So we have to be very careful about having to include anything about economic conditions. Likewise, even if that's the reality, I understand that, but we're bound by what the city charter provides for, and I think we need to stay as close as possible so that there's no violation on behalf of the commission and what work that we do. And whether people can understand that or not, it's not relevant, but I'm asking that everyone understand that you go back to the city charter, that will fall outside the scope. So it's sometimes best left unsaid than actually putting it down.
If I may, Commissioner Peters-Newman, I think the testimony portions 4 and 5, where it sort of reflects, it's basically saying testimony reflects the situation.
Thank you. I'll just revisit item number 3 of section 3-122, which is the commission shall set salaries in accordance with the principles of adequate compensation for work performed and preservation of a sensible relationship with the salaries of other city employees. Any other questions? Commissioners Wynn, Peters Wynn?
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Thank you. This is Commissioner Peters Wynn. I think I'm very satisfied with the responses and would withdraw the request to include additional language at this time.
Thank you. I'll note in items number 1 and item number 6, when listing the elected and appointed officials, the medical director and deputy medical director are absent, but should be are assumed to be captured under department heads and deputy department heads. Just wanted to confirm that for all commissioners.
Chair, do I need to make a motion for the language amendment that you had proposed?
Hold on for a second.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that was Malia Spinda.
Yeah, thank you. Sure, you can go ahead and do that this time.
Oops, sorry, you wrote it.
I'll do this here. Okay, there being no questions or material changes to the draft findings of fact, may I have a motion to approve the draft findings of fact, which are substantially in the form to be submitted to the City Council and the Mayor, and noted language under number 2 to include the fact that the commissioners did not deliberate the PIG's 3% recommendation.
Or exceptions.
Or exceptions.
This is Commissioner Espinda, I second it.
Mr. Chairman?
We need an actual motion first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I asked for one.
Sorry.
Great. Commissioner
This is Commissioner
Malia?
Peters Wynn, so move.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Commissioner Peters Wynn moves. Commissioner Espinda seconds. I'll call each commissioner and ask for your vote for in favor. Commissioner Tamamoto,
Yes.
Commissioner Takeuchi,
Yes.
Commissioner Yuen,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinda,
Yes.
Commissioner Peters Wynn,
Aye.
Commissioner Wakabayashi,
Yes.
and Commissioner Sakamoto votes yes. Okay. So the findings of fact are approved with noted changes. Commissioners, the finalized findings of fact have been approved and are ready for your signatures. The findings of fact will be submitted to the mayor and the council prior to May 1st, 2020, in accordance with Section 3-122.2 of the revised charter of the City and County of Honolulu. With no further business, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Tamamoto?
Chair.
I so moved that we conclude this last and final salary commission meeting for 2020.
It has been moved.
Correction.
Can I have a second?
Chair, D. Wakabayashi, I second the motion.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded. Are there any objections? Noting no objections from the commissioners present, this meeting is adjourned. The 2020 Salary Commission has completed its function as set forth under the Charter of the City and County of Honolulu. The members are hereby excused until the convening of the 2021 Salary Commission. Thank you for all your participation this past session and for performing a very important function and service. I particularly want to thank and recognize 2 members of the Commission whose terms expire early next year and who therefore may not be returning. That would be Commissioner Takeuchi and Commissioner Yuen. It's been a pleasure serving with both of you. And in an event that you do not return, we wish you well. That concludes the meeting. Thank you. Take care of yourself and take care of each other. Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank
Bye,
you, Chair.
guys. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.